Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about an almost guaranteed way, let's just say straight up guaranteed way, to be able to decrease your cost per conversion or increase the amount of conversions you're getting through your PPC campaigns that you're running already. Using what I call my filter method, or how to use filters on Google Ads to be able to get more leads or get more money from the same exact budget, or to be able to start to scale your campaigns. This is technically sort of a way to do that. This is primarily about, I'm getting 100 leads a month right now for my 3K budget. How do I get, 200? How do I basically double the response for my campaigns? Simply through using the filter system on Google Ads. This can be done in about an hour, whereas if you're watching my videos before, some of the stuff gets kind of crazy. This is about as easy as it gets in terms of making sure you have a lower cost per conversion or lower cost per sale if you're running e-commerce campaigns for your business without having to take much time, or it doesn't take a whole lot of skill. Anybody could do this. So I'll go through what the method is. We'll go through step by step how exactly you do this within an hour's time to be able to get 75% more conversions on the same exact ad spend you have right now, or reduce the cost by 75%, what you're paying to get a lead right now. It's another way to say it, and do it not only the execution within a day's time, but the actual entire end results will be there in 30 days or less on top of it. Why is it not instant? Well, technically, you can be done in an hour, but you need to wait a few days because Google, any changes you make, messes with their algorithm that learns how to run certain ads. Their algorithm's going to pick up your new settings are better and then massively start dumping on the traffic, because now you've got something that, in general, for every person that you want to attract, they know they're getting better response out of those exact users and want to push your ads more. Obviously, also, the bigger thing is you won't be paying for traffic anymore that doesn't get you a cost per conversion that's 75% less than you had before. Okay? Respectively, you're going to use filters to identify which of the keywords that you should have. But more so than that, it's also what negative keywords we have. And then also within that, you carve out what's you basically got that's waste there quickly through this method, and then replacing the waste with stuff that's working above average for you, so that you're able to maintain the spend you had, but also cut out with all the waste that you cut out. It's now diverted to stuff that has already been working. In the end result being you have a 75% lower cost per conversion. Also, though, still while maintaining the amount of ad spend that you have already. So this isn't a way to reduce cost per conversion, in other words, or cost per sale, and end up getting a lot less sales. This is going to get you more conversions and more sales on the same exact budget, with each sale or conversion being upwards of 75% less money than you're paying today. So if you're going to run PPC campaigns, I'm going to be doing it for myself every single time because it's so effective and so easy and so straightforward. You should be doing it. You have to be running your ad campaigns for probably a month or so already, but once you've done that, man, this strategy is primed and ready to go for you. It's close to a turnkey way to be able to get more leads for the same money or more sales from the same money than about anything else that I could share with you with the least skill necessary. So anyway, before I go into the actual method, everyone knows about editing keywords, shutting off or adding keywords, or even changing the bids of what you're paying per keyword if you have manual or enhanced bidding set up on your search campaigns. You can get an even better return on your search campaigns if you can't get the cost. So with the method that I'm sharing with you, if that's all you do is you're able to completely shut off a keyword or changing the price of what you're willing to pay for it, and that's all you're doing right now, which 99% of people, that's basically how they manage their search campaigns. You can get a much better return if you start using the filters inside of your account. And if you're not able to get the cost per conversion that you want out of your account, adding or removing keywords or changing the bids, and you've been doing that for a while now, 6 months or so, you probably will never get it. And so if you should know what you need for a cost per conversion or a cost per sale to be profitable after all your expenses. I harp on that many, many times on this channel, where, a lot of times you should know $50 cost per sale, you're not profitable, but $25 you are. You can do these normal things here that everybody knows about, changing the keywords, pausing them, or reducing or raising the bids. If you're not there yet, this method will almost for sure get you the rest of the way, as long as you're somewhat close. All you have to do is reduce the cost per sale or cost per conversion by a good 75%. This method will help you do it for your search campaigns. Okay? So with that said, I had a campaign that I recently just did this on. It was for a sign company. So they sell outdoor signs, and even for them, given, this is something that is highly competitive, basically, and there was no special edge or anything that this company had over the competition, we were able to cut the cost per conversion by 75%, just as I'm claiming here, within 30 days, and also while maintaining the spend that we had before. So essentially, we were able to lower the cost per conversion while still getting the same volume that we had before. Okay? And the main reason why I just bring this up, I use this all the time. Here's just one example briefly where this has worked in the past. I've done this for many different other types of companies, search campaigns. Usually what will happen, like in this case, at our firm, my guarantee will usually start out with, what results do you need up front to be profitable? Your ads aren't quite profitable yet. And they'll say, if I can get from $200 a conversion down to 90, it's profitable. And I'll work with your ad agency if you can get us there, at least to start with. And then I just whip out this one method here and almost can get it every time without having to do anything else. Generally, I'll rebuild the campaigns to have one keyword per ad. The one keyword per ad model, SCAG method is what that's called. Some other, people in the know in this industry, this ad management industry, knows and uses that due to how effective it is. And it lays out, and what everybody should be thinking about doing when you're doing a PPC, your goal is to use gimmicks. You can rebuild campaigns with the right foundation, the right landing page foundation, and then long term, you make the smaller adjustments. The longer you've run with the firm foundation, the more money you're going to make. You'll always be able to make things work. It's just a matter of when. Versus spending all your time tweaking a campaign that isn't set up very well, it's going to be a lot of effort, and long term, you're not going to make near the money. So usually when we start out, client has poor campaigns as per our standards, which, everybody, it's average, is what they normally have, which is a bunch of keywords in a particular ad group, which means they're using an ad for like 15 different ways somebody could search for what they're selling. Therefore, the ad isn't going to be relevant. Therefore, the landing page they're taking them to isn't very relevant. We add one keyword per ad group so we can have a handwritten, laser-targeted ad that tells them exactly what they were wanting. So our 4 ads, they'll always click on ours first, basically. And a landing page that we can, if they don't have a perfect page on their site, we make one. And so we have that for foundation, and that by default kicks the crap out of anybody else in the space doing PPC, which makes Google want to send all the traffic to us. But we'll run those new campaigns that are meant to replace the old campaigns side by side with the old campaigns, because no matter how crappy the old campaigns were that you're replacing with this new one keyword per ad group model, the data and the history on those old ads will beat the new campaigns generally for at least a few months. And then we just shut off the old campaigns once the numbers on the new campaigns are showing better. And with that, if I don't have yet the cost per conversion the client needs, in which I offer to guarantee for them up front, I use this method. Did it for the sign company, can be used almost every single occasion where search campaigns are used. both actually on Google and Bing. Of course, this will work. The sign company, we were just doing it on Google because they haven't had Bing yet. I always work in Bing about 6 months into a client project because Bing, anything that works on Google will work on Bing, and it's going to give me a little extra, 20% more market share, if you will, or out of the search market share, that is, because about 10 or 20% of the market search on Bing. If you're selling to older people, it can be 30, 40% in some cases. If it's selling to younger people, it can be 2 to 3%. But it generally gets a higher return because it's less expensive for the same exact keywords, where the traffic quality is comparable in either case. Traffic quality can actually be better. Somebody that's searching on Bing will convert at a higher rate, generally speaking, because it's an older demographic. Older demographic searches around less. Anyway, just a quick side note about search engine advertising in general. Now here's the actual method I'm talking about here, where you can reduce the cost per conversion by 75% to get you to where you want to be, cost per sale wise, cost per lead wise, so you can start making money, in which I mentioned many times before, PPC up front. Don't worry about what you're losing up front. If you do things the way that are more efficient than your competitors, which if you do the stuff I mentioned, you always will be, as arrogant as that sounds, it's not a matter of if it will work for you to hit your cost per conversion, but when. So you're just trying to get to your target cost per conversion where you know you'll be profitable after all expenses and the cost of the ads. And then you can scale. So it might take you 6 months even to be profitable right away. You have to invest $10,000 worth of time getting it to where it's profitable. But then you could start to scale the ad spend after that. So you were spending $1,000 a month before. Now, 3 years later, you're spending $10,000 a month. And what you're making per day later on, 3 years down the line, once you've gotten the method and you scaled it, you've made up for that $10,000, $15,000 you lost up front in a week's worth of running the campaign. This, by the way, keeps out your competition, because everybody that gets into it, 90% of people don't make money and quit right away because they turn on their ads, and if it's not working right away, they think it'll never work, and then they quit, or they run out of money. Whereas you're going to lose some money going in, or should know that since you watch this channel and you're just okay with losing some money up front to get it to where you finally hit your number, and obviously if you could see your cost per lead going down, you should know eventually you're going to get it low enough. And if you don't get it low enough with the typical stuff and doing campaigns the way that I mentioned, this one method should get you the rest of the way. So here's the method. The prerequisites are going in. So respectively, you need about 1,000 or more clicks. Since your tracking has been verified to be working on your PPC account. So just like I said, you should already know and calculate what your cost per conversion needs to be profitable. And if you're generating leads, that means looking at your average closing rates on leads, how much your average client's worth, or how much your lifetime value of a customer's worth, because rarely in a market where you have to rely on a customer coming back, are you going to make enough money to pay for the ads on the first purchase? And break it all down so you know what you can pay up front to get a customer, whereas over their lifetime, it'll only be like 10% of what you make off of them to keep the ads profitable. But not only that, be in a position to scale and really start making money. You know your number, and then of course, to know if you hit your number, so you actually know when you can start to scale, because a lot of people, they don't know they're making money because they have all the other customers coming in. They don't know what's what. You know your number, and when you hit your number, you're going to start to scale, and you know that's where 98% of all the money you're going to make with this is. So you know your number, and you set up tracking. You track every lead that comes in through the phone. CallRail is what I use for that, or the contact form. And so you know what your cost per lead is, given some people will respond one way, one to the other, and you should always have a phone number if you want to really make it easy for yourself. Some people, they just won't do business with you if they can't call. And if you're doing e-commerce, you track the cart purchases, and if you sell something over $200, you track the phone number and you track the contact forms. And as people call and order over the phone or what have you, you do what is called offline conversion tracking, so that when somebody buys on the phone, you can, through CallRail, listen to the call, import the Google Click ID from CallRail into your Google Ads account, and you can see then physically what you're paying for a sale that way. So in other words, no matter what you're doing to generate your results, you'll always be able to track what your results are if you're hitting your number. If you're generating leads, you could track a lead all the way to a sale, by the way, and you could also import how much each person spent and what your overall sales volume is as well through this online conversion tracking. So you know your number going in before you touch any ads. And yes, it's going to take work, and it's tempting to just go ahead and start this. I want to see if it's going to work. If you don't know your numbers going in, you'll stop at some point because you'll panic. Spending $1,000 a month, I don't know what I'm getting. You have the tracking set up to track what a cost per lead is or what a cost per sale is, and you know your number that you hit before it's profitable. You can start scaling. You get 1,000 clicks. Now you don't have your number yet. You use this, at least on your search campaigns here, to get your cost per lead down the rest of the way. Number one, find out which single words in your search terms report are 25 to 75% worse than the average cost per conversion or cost per sale or cost per lead, whatever type of business you have, than the rest. So in other words, you get in, you've had 3,000 clicks overall from all your search campaigns, okay? With that, if you know your cost per conversion needs to be 75% less for you to hit your mark to where you can scale, then I'm going to find out what my actual cost per conversion was, or cost per lead, or cost per sale, depending on what business I have. And overall, what is it? And then how much do I need to drop the cost per conversion to where I can hit that point where I'm profitable and in position to scale? If it's 75%, okay, then if your overall cost per conversion is $100 conversion or $100 a lead, you need to get it down to 25 to where you know that's your number and that's what it takes to be profitable. Okay, then you open up your search terms report that represents all the search terms from all your search campaigns together, and then you analyze single terms, single words. What I mean by a word is if you sell LED sign, like let's say the sign company here, if it's LED signs, okay, that's the search term. We analyze by using, this is where the filters come in, what is the average return from all user searches where they typed in LED versus not LED. And so, respectively, there's in the search terms report, there's a filter where you click filter and then you put search term contains and then LED. Now you'll see if somebody typed in LED as a part of the overall keyword that you have or search term in that particular case, here's what the return and cost per lead was actually. And then if they did use LED, here's what the return was. So you can see if they should be, you want people that type in LED as a part of their keyword or not. Okay? And a lot of them, right, the cost per conversion won't be where you want it to. Where the cost per conversion is 75% less, then you keep those keywords. So if you find out anybody who types in cheap, let's say in the LED sign company space, if I filter by search term contains cheap and find out that actually the average cost per conversion is $100, now I know at that particular situation, I won't want any keyword at the very least that contains the word cheap in it. And you're going to have to analyze all your search terms in general, and then specifically the individual words within those search terms to identify actual keywords you're bidding on that you want to filter out in order to hit your target cost per conversion, and also not cut down too much of your overall volume or potential from your campaigns in general. Okay, this will also help when you don't have enough data per keyword to identify if you should modify a bid on a keyword. This actually helps you get the data that you need to be able to make really strong conclusions about what keywords you want quicker. So anyway, you find out which terms are not going to give you the cost per conversion you want. Then you're going to, number two, pause all the, I meant to put right here, keywords. Again, keywords are what you bid on. Search terms are what they physically typed in to find your ad and then click on it. So respectively, what you bid on for a keyword, even if it's an exact match format with the brackets, Google will deliver and have your ad show up even if, if you're bidding on sign company, they will have your ad show up for LED sign company, even if it's got exact match, a bracket around that keyword, because that's how it works. I'm not going to get into detail too much why, but that's how it works. So when you look through your search terms report, you see what are the actual search terms that Google gave you are, and then what's the individual words within those search terms that generated that have keywords at the very least that contain those words, and I'll at least filter those out. So if I find out all the searches combined that had cheap somewhere in the keyword, that doesn't produce a cost per conversion, at the level of cost per conversion or cost per sale I want it to. So I will pause all the keywords that I'm bidding on that contain cheap in that case. Moving forward, number 3, you're going to add single words that you found, like the cheap example that I gave you, that ultimately doesn't result in the cost per conversion result or your number to be profitable to where you could scale. So with that, you are just going to now, if cheap produced a cost per conversion that's too high, I'm not just from number 2, pause any keywords, just filter by keyword contains, and then if it contains cheap, you're going to click all and then pause to make sure you're blocking out even to make it more sure that you're going to now from now on not bid on or have your ad show up for any terms or search terms, what users type in to find your ads, by adding cheap now as a negative keyword. And there's an easy way. You're going to want to have those individual words like cheap, maybe an expensive produces a cost per sale or cost per conversion too high. You're going to write them all down, and you're going to pause all the keywords that have those terms in it. You're going to create a negative keywords list. You can Google how to create a negative keywords list. Have that negative keywords list. Have all your individual words within your search terms report that do not, on average, generate a cost per conversion at your target cost per conversion you need, and then apply that list to all search campaigns you have. Now, if your campaigns were not limited by budget to start with, so with that, if your search campaigns have the capability to spend more money, and they're only running part of the day, your campaign status will say on the campaigns menu, limited by budget, which means if you raise the budget to the recommended amount they want, your ads would be eligible to run, generally speaking, all day long instead of shutting off halfway through the day. Now, it's not quite like that, but it's actually about only half like that. They'll also have it show up for some new stuff too. So it's not like you won't get the same, you for sure won't get the same exact quality as you were getting before. If it says limited by budget, you're spending 100 a day now, it's recommending 300. It'll have some ads that you already have running so that they'll run all the time, but maybe half of it will just be new auctions or places where your ad didn't show up before that it thinks that will work similarly, but there's no guarantee. And so if they're limited, your campaigns are limited by budget, and you cut out through pausing these keywords with words that do not have the target cost per conversion that you need, and add those words as negative keywords, maybe half of those potential of the overall spend potential from those search campaigns will be cut out, and it will no longer say limited by budget anymore, or maybe it's your search campaigns stay saying limited by budget after you make those changes, and respectively, all that you'll have then is a set of search campaigns that spend exactly what they were before, but your cost per conversion is now just less. Okay. Now, if you're in a situation where you need to spend, you want to spend $3,000 a day, and your search campaigns don't say limited by budget, once you do number 2 and 3 here, pausing the keywords, adding the negative keywords, your campaigns will spend half what they were. So, respectively, your cost per conversion might be 75% less, but you're only spending half as much. So now you have less leads. And maybe you need so many leads to keep your salespeople busy. Now what do? If you're in that situation, you're going to build new search campaigns, 1 keyword per ad group. So going back to what I said before, if you don't have it now, you should really work on creating new campaigns that take all the keywords you had before and put one keyword in each ad group, so you can have a handwritten ad for every keyword where the keyword is in the headline, because that's what always works the best. And you can hand select the best page on your site for where that ad takes the user in that exact situation where they type in XYZ, because what page is ideal for that user will be different based upon a different term they search. So you'll create a campaign that does that from all the remaining search terms. So if you aren't doing the one keyword per ad model, you should, because that'll double your results on top of what I'm telling you here anyway. But even if you have watched my videos before and you have made one keyword per ad group, the way that I said, to double your results is potential of what you would get with in opposed to having multiple keywords in the same ad group and trying to tell many people the same thing, not telling them exactly what they want to see when they type in such terms. That in your search terms report, you'll open up your search terms report again, right? And all the terms in which generate a lower cost per conversion or same cost per conversion as your target. If you're trying to get down to $25 cost per conversion, okay, respectively, you could filter all the search terms that do not generate a $25 cost per conversion right on that search terms menu. And each actual search term that triggered an ad in which got clicks and got clicks at the target cost per conversion you need to be profitable, you're going to use those exact search terms to rebuild or build for the first time a brand new campaign that laser focuses on just those search terms that got you the target cost per conversion you want. And then because you have a custom ad written for every one of those search terms and a custom place to send the users to, which because you can hand pick it, you can have the headline on the landing page say pretty much what's in the keyword or what they typed in, which will get you another roughly 40% conversion increase as to what, sending all users for all keywords to one page where the headline is generalized, which is an actual figure, by the way. I do this stuff all the time just to very easily and methodically increase conversion rates on campaigns. That respectively, even if you have one ad for every keyword, like I normally tell you to do anyway, that keyword itself, going back to what I said before, you won't get searches just for that keyword. You'll get searches similar to it. If you have a sign production company, you'll have cheap sign production company, quick, sign production company, so on and so forth. So what you'll do then, even if you started out with one ad group for every keyword, so you can have an ad for every keyword, after you've had 3,000 clicks or more, or 1,000 clicks or more, you'll find search terms there that you don't already have added as keywords. And so with this new campaign, you will start to have ads for each one of those search terms and potential keywords that you did not have before, and which you now know because you've ran your ads for a while and see the other variants of terms that can generate you a customer that you couldn't figure out before through your normal keyword research processes, whether you use SpyFu, whether you use the Google Keywords tool, whatever. Uber suggests some people use that, Thesaurus. And so with that, because you now have more overall ads for more overall keywords, which allow you to have further granularity in respectively having an ad for every possible search that's out there instead of most of them, you're going to automatically have a higher click-through rate on the search terms in which now are that you add as individual keywords and which you have custom ads set up for it. If somebody types in premium sign company and you have an ad that says sign company in the first headline, it will not get the same click-through rate as premium sign company. You can basically double the click-through rate just by having the exact thing that they searched for. And so, yes, having a custom ad for every search term that ever pops up in your search terms report can leave you where you have to have 5,000, 10,000 different ads if you want to double the click-through rate, which, by the way, will cut your cost per click about in half. due to the increase in quality scores you get across the board now from all your keywords. You will be able to replace that half of the budget that you cut out from 1, 2, and 3 here with more clicks on the search terms that already delivered your cost per conversion that you already wanted and know what you needed in order to be profitable with your ads. Okay? So you're basically scaling the part of the account which works in that case, or starting to help you scale. Or another way to put it is you're simply you're taking the budget that you saved through 1, 2, and 3 and reapplying it on a new campaign which laser focuses on searches which you know have the capability already to get your cost per conversion that you know you need to be profitable, which you decided on day one before you started your campaigns, when you started figuring out what your PPC strategy is and so forth. So in that search terms report though, some of these search terms that are there, you already have added as a keyword. So you're going to be looking in your search terms report, did it deliver a cost per conversion? Did this search term here deliver a cost per conversion at my target or better? If so, are they already a keyword that I have? If not, you'll add them into your new campaign that you build that are supposed to laser target on the search terms that you're making keywords now, in which normally that you know already deliver a cost per conversion that you need to be profitable. So you get more click-through on those exact search terms you already know through the data, produce a cost per conversion that's profitable and allow you to scale. Respectively, there's a way, by the way, in the search terms report to filter. You could say, just like I said before, you could say, if search term contains cheap, show me what the cost per or filter everything down to where all the search terms are there that are the only search terms that are displayed are the ones with cheap somewhere in there. Okay? With that said, you can hit return and add, cheap, and then could be inexpensive and then free, and you can add a whole list. So you could say if it contains any of these words, don't have any search term with any of these words showing up. You could also say does not contain. So if you want just the search terms with that list of individual words that have all those terms to show up, you could. And so as you're looking through your search terms, just to see what you're going to replicate basically to this new campaign to help you reuse the ad spend that you've already saved, you're of course still going to make sure it's not on your original list of words to block out. So, but this is pretty self-explanatory. You mainly just need to find out which terms are not keywords already and that produce cost per conversion at the cost per conversion you want or better. And then if it's not a keyword already, add it as a keyword. And you want to put these, by the way, in exact match so that the ad that you write will the search term that triggers the ad will end up being as close to the user's search as possible, because that's what gets your increase in click-through rate, the big, doubling increase in click-through rate, which is going to really drop your cost per conversion and obviously increase the amount of customers you can get that are at the target cost per conversion you need and want. And so, respectively, there's an alternate kind of way of mentioning to do this before I wrap this up. If volume, because you have your operations, and if you drop below a certain volume, then you're kind of in trouble. Even though you do want your cost per conversion down, you may not say, if I need a $25 cost per conversion, I really might just say anything with at least 50% or a $50 cost per conversion, I will just block out. And so you obviously have a blended kind of strategy there to where you're going to drop your cost per conversion but it's not going to get you all the way to the cost per conversion you want. And then you use some other strategy to get you the rest of the way. Particularly if you already have ads set up for all the main search terms already, so that you're not going to get it, you're not going to get a higher amount of clicks from doing the one keyword per ad group model, because you've already kind of done that. And with that, I'm going to come back every 6 to 12 months and go through and try to see if I can add any more of those search terms that I don't have as keywords yet to my campaign that's dedicated in getting the highest click-through rate on every available search term that gets the cost per conversion that I want. So, with that all said, that pretty much spells out what to do. If, like I said, you could track anything you want and you could figure out what you need on your campaigns. If you don't know what your cost per conversion needs to be, well, you need to figure that out. You need to figure out, and you got to track a lead all the way to a sale. You got to track the customers you get. You got to track the value, what lifetime value of a customer from an ad, which you can do. There's tools out there for doing that, lifetime value tracking through like Shopify or whatever you have, so that you can back all this out so you know which search terms are useful for your business so that you can add those as keywords. And ultimately, eventually, every possible search that can net a cost per sale at the cost per conversion or ROI that you need is that it is an individual keyword and has unique custom ads for it and custom landing pages where the headline matches what's on the landing page headline matches what, or even if you're an e-commerce business, the headline on the search results page you take them to on your e-commerce site matches the headline on the ad, which ultimately comes back and matches what they typed in. So you get the maximum amount of clicks from who's profitable, can be profitable in your market, and you've discovered through actually spending money. So to tie everything together, it's not a matter of if people, these search ads will work. It's just when. When do you have enough data that tells you exactly which terms were working and profitable and which ones weren't? And this is the exact way you can find it. Get to that point. There'll be certain, if you want to save a little bit more time, as a quick side note, if you're doing the new campaign setup to have now new ads / keywords for each search term that you found was productive, was producing a cost per conversion that you needed to have, and you want to have a custom ad to double the click-through rate on it and get more out of that particular search term, which you're now making its own keyword, you could run a test campaign, put all the possible search terms that you want to have, put all the search terms you found that produce a cost per conversion at the cost per conversion you need, and which are not already keywords yet, into a test campaign and to see if you can add them as keywords. Because sometimes if only one person a year searches for that search term, Google will say not enough search volume, and you've wasted your time handwriting ads for each one of those search terms that you now want to make a keyword. So you set up a test campaign. Within an hour, it'll say low volume, search volume too low, search volume too low, and the ones that say search volume too low, just weed those out. Whatever's left. Now, if you spend your time writing a custom ad for each one of those search terms, which are now going to be keyword and which have their own ad group to do that, you're going to absolutely get a return from that activity and save yourself a little bit of time. But apart from that, pretty much goes through the entire thing about what I do basically on every campaign to drop the cost per conversion like clockwork. If you like this video, I have a ton of other videos on this channel about other PPC money-making strategies. If you want to make a ton of money with PPC and learn how to do that, this channel is the best channel that I've found out there to do it. Why I came up with this channel itself, an idea to do it in general. I have a blog also, though, at guaranteedppc.com/blog that has step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns the way that I build them for clients here. A little bit what I discussed here. If you want to see more stuff on a more step-by-step basis, you can see really good information there, which I also use to guarantee our clients' results that I personally use on their campaigns. So if you like information drawn out for you that way, you can find it there. If you have any questions about this particular strategy, leave me a comment down below. I'll get back to every single person who leaves me a comment or question on this channel within a day or two personally to help you out the rest of the way through what you want to do here to make more money from your campaigns or just get PPC to get to the point where it is profitable so you can scale and become as rich as you want, basically, from your ads. So I'll wrap it up with that. I do have another PPC money-making strategy video also coming out in another day or two. that you should like. Hope to see you on that one, watching as well. And well, basically, hope to see you there. Take it easy.